a really revelational question was put forward to this mind, saying how does that what is overcome this kind of samsara life into an enlightened state? How does this one express their emotions? You see, well, without trying to sound so personal and deep, and saying, well, there's no one here with emotions. There is only emotions. But in fact, that's probably the best way to say it. There is emotions. Like this emotion of scratching. Okay? If the attention did not go on to this scratching, no mind would have noticed it. Because the focus is on the words. So when we put our psychological, ego-driven, intellectual, thought-based attention on the emotion, that emotion becomes normally personal, because we are conditioned and programmed into saying it's my emotion. So therefore you would say, I was really happy at this wedding. It brought so much tears and nostalgia. I remember crying and then laughing. See? So the emotions, they took place. And the emotion of expressing the memory of that emotion, because the wedding took place in the past, stimulates that emotion, that nostalgic emotion, that feeling good emotion. So the only difference is the emotions don't change, but you don't identify them as your emotions. They're just emotions. There's no I that went to the wedding. There was an experience, and the experience can still be, if you want to use your mind, memorized and replayed. But the emotions, the true emotion, whatever emotion it is, whatever category you want to give the emotion, is only truly experienced in this present moment. So I'm not saying the present moment, you won't get emotions outside of the present moment. The experience of being happy at the wedding can still be memorized, and as a kind of relationship. But you cannot return to that moment of happiness or grief or crying in its truth. So emotions, it's an emotional body. So you understand that the emotion of life, whatever it is, without categorizing, without saying love, happiness, the whole purpose of life, the emotion of life is just fluctuating, coming and going. And we have, in an unpersonal way, if you look at knowledge and history, we have given these emotions particular descriptive ways. So the emotion of life to me is love. The emotion of life to me is happiness. Oh, the emotion of life to me is depression. I feel so depressed. The whole world's depressed. Everything's depressed. And we take the emotions very, very personal. And the more personal you take them, the more they seem to stimulate a relationship with you, the person. The emotion says, I'm coming to get you, a person, because you like this emotion. You know? So the emotion of joy and happiness wants to be there for you. But it's not natural, it's not flowing. because the emotion of grief destroys that emotion of overwhelming joy and happiness. Same emotion, but different names, different feelings, different descriptions, different ways. And that's when depression comes in, when sometimes it doesn't have to be what's going on in your life. Sometimes you can be depressed because the emotion of absolute joy that's hovering above you is being confronted by happiness, but not that kind of happiness. The happiness that the war is over in a country that's not near you. The emotion of life wants everyone to experience the happiness of the war being over, but your own personal emotions, they're entangled. I'm not really interested in a war right now because, and it's nothing to do with sadness and grief and fighting and death. It's to do with it superseding, this war is superseding my need to be joyful. So opposing emotions are not straightforward. It doesn't have to be this overwhelming joy that's succumbing you, being oppressed by misery, by a war starting. Oh, I can't be joyful because there's a war starting. I can't be joyful because there's a war stopping. It's nothing to do with the qualities. It's to do with the personal feeling as if it's different from the natural. So the human is different from the being. You see? So an enlightened, when your emotions are taken away, the human emotions are taken away, the description, meaning that how can you say my emotions have been taken away when I'm experiencing Sat Chit Ananda bliss, out of body, enlightening experiences? That itself has to be an emotion. It's the joy of the emotions being balanced. Everything becomes balanced, you see. Balance is Buddha. Buddha is the awakened one, the awakened emotion. Awakened to fluctuate and be itself. Like the wave in the ocean, it's allowed to be itself. When a ship comes, it's not itself because the ship may, through the wave, they separate. But the wave itself will stop and start again. Yeah. Nature is the most balanced. Being is the most balanced. Emotions are the most balanced as one emotion, as one awakening, as one whole, whatever it is that you perceive this universe to be, and however far it is, it's all tuned immaculately, perfectly. But I want it to be tuned my way, you see. I want life to be tuned my way. I want happiness when I want happiness. I want enlightenment when I want enlightenment. I want money when I want money. I want to be free when I want to be free. And this is when Papaji says the problem is I want. Is the problem in the wanting, or is it in the I, the particular type of I that wants it? I'm a particular type of I. See, I've always been a rich I. So therefore, if I want, I should automatically get. If it's something that can, it doesn't have to even be monetarial. I'm in a position to get. So this I is much more important than the wanting. So I want a piece of cake. Yeah? Well, There's no more cake. What? No, it's not in the wanting anymore. It's in the, what do you mean I can't get a piece of cake? Do you know who I am? And the poor one says, I want a piece of cake, but it's okay because I know I'm not going to get the piece of cake. Therefore, it's also another ego way of saying I get or I don't get. I want or I don't want. Who is the I? What kind of particular I? What kind of particular emotional, personal I is aiding in not allowing the natural emotion, the natural flow of emotions to come through, to expose itself, to experience itself. So awakening is not the seeking for a particular type of emotion. Awakening is when there's no more seeking. You just accept everything as it comes. And of course, the negateful mind says, no, life's not like that. That's when we have opposition, you see. Because we're trying to solve everyone else's lives through our own understanding that my personal life knows better than your personal life. My I knows better than your I. My emotional experience in this life knows better than your minuscule experience or overwhelming experience in your life. I am content. You should be content. That's the whole problem with humanity, the whole problem with the ego mind, is we're trying to resolve that what is possible to resolve, but will never be resolvable because of history, because of conditioning, because of programming, because of culture, because of wars, because of names, because of the personal, the ego in its rightful way wants to say the person is important to find the truth. But it also knows that the truth is not dependent on the person. The truth is allowing the truth to be as it is. One whole emotion. But who am I? Who am I to tell you about your emotions? Who am I to talk about you as a person? Who am I to say that one emotion is all that exists? It's just the experience of being awakened by the ultimate. The ultimate, you can call it consciousness, you can call it mind, you can call it ego, you can call it God, you can call it Atman, absolute. But the awakening is just a real friendly tap on the shoulder to say it's not about you. It's not about the I, you. It is about I. Is I, and can I be divided? Is I billions of segments? Or is I solid, whole, and one? That's the discovery. And then you realize that emotions are quite healthy. As long as you don't attach them, as long as you don't say they're for me, as long as you don't say I experienced it in an egoistic way, you can say this is an emotional journey. When you're not taking ownership of you being the journey, you being the knower of the journey. I is an emotional journey that goes on. by itself.